Now to politics and a health care proposal by a Democratic senator that most concede is taking at least some baby steps forward. But it's still getting a lukewarm response from both sides of the aisle. Here's CBS News senior White House correspondent Bill Plante. Good morning, Bill.
Good morning, Maggie. With the Senate bill by Max Baucus now out, all the cards are on the table. And a lot of legislators in both parties are still very unhappy. Senator Max Baucus worked for months on the plan with 3 Republican senators and 2 other Democrats. But when he announced his $865 billion package, he was standing alone. The Senate Finance Committee measure would cover about 95% of Americans, but still leave 25 million uninsured. The Senate bill has many provisions the president has pushed for. There is no public option, but there are nonprofit co-ops to compete with private insurers. Insurance companies would be barred from turning down customers based on health status or pre-existing conditions. Everyone is required to get health coverage or face a fine, up to $3,800 for a family of 4. For those who can't afford insurance, eligibility for Medicaid would be expanded. Already, members of both parties have said they won't support the bill.
The bill is not going to become law, and frankly, it shouldn't.
It's an ongoing effort. We have said this is a first step.
This is just the beginning. This bill now has to go to the full Senate Finance Committee, which will almost certainly change it. They'll be looking for a filibuster-proof 60 votes. And at least one of those votes has to be a Republican. Maggie?
CBS's Bill Plante, thank you. GOP Chairman Michael Steele joins us from Washington. Good morning, Mr. Steele.
Good morning, Maggie. How are you?
Will they get that one vote, that one Republican vote?
I don't know. It depends on the bill. I think Olympia Snowe, who has been working with Max Baucus on this bill, has been very clear in terms of what Republicans are looking for to create a bipartisan bill. And I think it was very telling yesterday that the senator was standing there, Max Baucus was by himself when all this work had been done up to this point. So this tells me, and I think it tells a lot of Americans, that we still have a long way to go. And I agree with the analysis of the baby steps. This is the first of a very, very many baby steps that are going to have to be taken. And they should be. They need to slow this process down. They need to listen and pay a little attention to it.
I remember last week when you were on with us, your number one bone of contention was that public option. It's socialism. It has to go. Get it out of the bill. It's gone. And this is the only bill that actually, according to the Congressional Budget Office, which is nonpartisan, as you know, will actually bring down the deficit. So you don't seem happy that at least they're compromising.
I don't know. I don't know about what it does on the deficits. I don't know if all the analysis of the cost and of what this bill is ultimately going to mean to the American people has been done. But let's go back and be very clear here. The public option represented government control. Co-ops in this bill, again, represent government control. Who's running these co-ops? If the federal government is financing these co-ops, is putting the money in play for the states, and the state governments are running these co-ops, that again creates a nexus that we need to watch very carefully.
So you think it's the same thing?
I'm not jumping up and down and saying, no. What I'm saying is a baby step. There's a lot more that we need to do, and there needs to be appropriate language in the bill, the final bill, that makes sure that we're not opening a back door to a public option, whether you call it that or not, down the road.
I have 20 seconds, and I definitely wanted to leave time to ask you about these allegations on behalf of former President Carter and others, that all of this criticism towards President Obama is motivated by racism. I know that President Obama has disagreed with that himself, but when we have protests in Washington like we saw last week, when we see Confederate flags and pictures of the president in whiteface and signs that say he needs to go back to Africa, can you afford to ignore that?
No, you don't ignore it, but you don't paint such a broad brush with it. I mean, I don't remember this brush being painted this way when President Reagan was being President Bush was being protested over the last 6 or 7 years.
Well, they didn't have these signs of him, and obviously it's different because President Obama is black.
Racism takes many forms. It's not just black on white or white on black. So the reality of it is racism is an insidious, part of our culture that many generations have been fighting to, excise. And so I just think now that the elevation of race into this public policy debate irrespective of what some folks may have in a sign here or there, is not been the tenor of this discussion, has not been the tenor of this debate up to now. And I thought President Carter was out of line, and I said so.
All right, Michael Steele, as always, we appreciate you taking the
All right.
time. Take care.
Thank you.